Racing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world of outlaws.
Good evening, race fans. It is NMRA season finale. We got a 100-lapper tonight here at Limaland, and it's going to be a good one as the points race is very close. Only 6 points separate number 1 and number 2. I am your host tonight, Ryan Griffith. I've got my co-host with me as well, Jason Haynes. Jason, we talk about these late models. We haven't been with them all season long, but what we have seen, we've seen some really, really close racing. What do you think we're going to see tonight when we go 100 laps in these super late models?
You know, I think I'm going to see more of the same. There's obviously the top 3 or 4 cars that are always battling each other, it seems like, at the end of the race. It's just they have to deal with a drier track this time, and they're going to have to deal with lap traffic, which is extremely important on these small little short tracks. So this is going to be a good little 100-lap kind of dash here for the championship. Looking forward to seeing it.
Absolutely, as we are just under the 5-minute mark, and we will get into qualifying. But before we do so, let's take a look at those points in this one. And Desmond Busby has the current point lead at 412 points. This is a drop series, so in week number 5, he had a drop race there. Ryan Underwood sets a number 2 with 406 points. That is the battle right there for the championship. In that third spot, James Clawson with 344. James Braswell Jr. is in the number 4 spot. And Bob Clean in that number 5 spot. So there is your top 5 coming into tonight for a 100-lapper. Desmond Busby, Ryan Underwood. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on both of these guys throughout much of the race. We're going to step away just for a quick moment before we get into qualifying action.
Hello, race fans. I'm Ozzy Altman, joining you at what has to be, without a doubt, the most highly anticipated dirt racing event in the history of motorsports. Now, Eldora Speedway, located in the northern central side of Ohio, right near the Indiana border, is no stranger to big money events. But this night, something special happens. 100 laps on the hallowed half mile. The winner picks up $1 million. What would you do to win the Eldora Million?
Welcome back to Limaland for your season finale. 100 laps of the NMRA Racing Association. Brought to you by Majoni's Speed Shop and Mafia Sim Sports. They're sponsors throughout much of this season, and we can't be more excited about next season with NMRA as we plan to host a lot of the races there with Dirt Eye TV. You'll be able to watch it right here on the YouTube channel. So make sure that you have been able to go over and check out our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are subscribing to that so you see all of the new content weekly with these late models, the sprint cars, anything that has to do with iRacing. You can see it right there on Dirt Eye TV. You can also find us over on Facebook as well. Make sure that you give us a like and a follow over there. And also, you can find us over on TikTok, where you'll find some behind-the-scenes stuff as we go live a lot. And you want to see some of that behind-the-scene footage. It's pretty cool to watch. Some of our sponsors for tonight to make this show possible for you guys to finish out your season with Dirt Eye TV. Redline Race Designs. If you need a wrap done, well, you can get it done by Redline Race Designs. Check them out on Facebook. Does look like we are getting you set for heat racing action out on the speedway. And we've got the call here, and we'll start on that front row. Starting on the pole in this one from the Mid-South Mafia, number 22, that is Camden Johnson. Starting in a number 2 spot, the Powerhouse Performance, number 46, that's Matthew Selby.
Starting in the second row, on the inside, the number 2 car from Rocket Esports, it's Cascar. Starting on the outside, the number 51 car from Speedworks Mafia, Terrell Payne.
Starting in that number 5 spot from the Hood Up Motorsports, number 7, that's Bob Clean. Starting 6th from Illinois, number 17, Ian Logan.
And rounding out the field, the 23 car, Matt George.
All right, we are getting you set for heat racing action. This is your first heat race of the day. And man, what great weather we have here on tap for a great 100 laps in these late models. But first, we must set the lineup, and we got to do that one by going through the heat race. Looks like 10 laps is going to be on tap here. Your iRacing pace car is looking for the one to go.
Track's still really tricky. I imagine we're going to see a little bit of follow leader for the first couple of heat races here, but it'll widen out, and I'm sure things will get really good. Here we go to green.
All right, lights are out. We are green flag racing out here on the speedway. That number 22 machine dives it into turn 1, but you got that 46 machine of Selby trying to battle onto the inside to try to take that position away. Hot and heavy up front early in on this heat race number 1.
Selby working the bottom, trying to kind of just ride down underneath him a little bit there, side by side going into turn 3. Still side by side coming out of 4.
That battle is really heating up there for that top position. And at 46, the number 22 machine of Johnson, they will go side by side. While we look at all that going on, there's another battle about to heat up with Bob Clean and Payne. Payne's right there in a close heated battle, trying to work the bottom side of the raceway. So it looks like there is 2 lines of racing around this speedway. Right now, still at number 22, machine is out front with 6 laps to go.
2 by 2 all the way from 1st to 4th, all the way around the field. Looking very, very tight. Both leaders and 3rd and 4th, both exchanging lines now. Klein to the bottom, and looks like the 4th place car is going to come a little bit out of line there and hit the wall.
So all the pressure's off of Bob Clean now. And you go back up there with Selby in that 46 machine, still working the bottom, has not left the bottom since the beginning of this race. He's committed down there, has got that car probably set up for this heat race down there on the bottom. But Camden Johnson's leading this race, and the last time by Camden Johnson was your fastest guy out there on the speedway with 3 laps to go.
Johnson rolling the momentum up high. Well, unfortunately, Selby is kind of just pinched on the bottom. Can't really get any momentum going to get any progress towards the leader. But and now he moves up high. Now he's going to try right up against the wall.
White flag is out onto the speedway one more time around this speedway here at Limaland. That 22 machine looking for victory lane here. He exits turn number 4. The flags are in the air. The number 22 of Camden Johnson will pick up your win. Matthew Selby in second, and Bob Clean rounds out your top 3. Some good side-by-side racing there in your first heat race of the night. So now let's talk about heat race number 2. And starting on the pole from the Rocket Esports number 88, that is Jason Moore. Starting second, the Mid-South Mafia number 109, that's James Braswell Jr.
Starting third, the 07 from Richard Murtaugh Racing, it's Thomas Rickard. Starting on the outside from Wooddash Mafia, it's the 29 car of James Clawson.
Starting 5th in the dirt racing, number 82, that's Desmond Busby. Starting 6th from the Midwest, number 75, Ron Swanson.
And rounding out the field is the 104 car of Rocket Esports of Jason Salter.
10 laps will be the distance here once again as your green flag is waving out of turns number 4.
Moore right off the bat, down low, takes the lead. Meanwhile, behind him, Braswell is just working the high side, trying to get a little momentum. Maybe he can make a move on him.
Well, Braswell's working that upper lane just above the 88 machine. You got Thomas Vickers and Busby battling on for that 3rd, 4th position back there. As you remember, Desmond Busby in a points battle tonight, and he sits back here in that 4th position. He'd like to get every little bit of position. Although we do have 100 laps, you still want to start up front in this A main, and you're going to have to fight through this heat race to be able to do it. As now the battle up front is starting to heat up. You got James Braswell Jr. to the top side with 7 laps to go. He's on the move.
Moore kind of pushing through the bottom there, trying to make it work, while Braswell is definitely, here he goes to the outside, challenging for the lead coming into turn 3.
Braswell Jr. side by side there at the flag stand with 5 laps to go. That's going to be a nail biter coming down to the end of this heat race number 2. This is a great battle up front with that Jason Moore 88 machine and the 109 of James Braswell Jr. I know we've called a lot of races and we've talked about James Braswell Jr. and it seems like he's always running up front. And here he is passing for the lead. He's got the lead there at the stripe. James Braswell Jr. is the fastest guy out on the speedway with 3 laps to go.
Moore's not giving up, though. He's actually ahead of him coming into the line this time. And looks like he didn't get the pass done, but he's still challenging on that inside. He's not falling back by any means.
No, you're absolutely right. He is powering that bottom. White flag is out. One more trip around. Will it be Moore or Braswell Jr.? Does look like Braswell's got the momentum there coming in the 3. Out of turns number 4. Checkers are in the air. Braswell Jr. will get your win. Jason Moore in second, and Desmond Busby will round out in that 3rd position. We got your 3rd heat race stacking up on the grid, and here's what it's going to look like. Starting on the pole in the Hood Up Motorsports number 23, that's Matt George. Starting second from the Midwest, number 29, James Clawson.
Starting in the 2nd row on the inside from Illinois, it's 17 car of Ian Logan. Starting 4th on the outside from Rocky Esports, the 104 car of Jason Salter.
Starting in that number 5 spot from Rocket Esports, number 2, Chance Carr. Starting 6th from the Midwest, number 75, that's Ron Swanson. "16 laps will be the distance in this one." Yes, it does look like we are only getting 4 cars that are going to grid up onto the speedway. It does look like Chance Carr and Ron Swanson not able to get that car fired and out here on the speedway, as we are getting you set here for it looks like your B main action.
Every car will make it.
Green flag is waving in the air. That number 23 of Matt George takes your early command. Here on the outside, just powering on the outside, is James Clawson. We've talked about James Clawson before. I think he was also a winner this season in that number 29 machine.
Salter and Clawson battling for the lead. Salter down bottom, Clawson on the top. Has the momentum, and he will lead that lap by the slimmest of margins. Salter kind of moving up into Clawson now a little bit.
Yeah, you look at the times there, it looks like Jason Salter was actually faster than James Clawson there on that last lap, and this lap rings true as well with 12 laps to go. Can Jason Salter get to the back bumper of the 29? As you've seen, Clawson gets into the wall, opens up the door for that 10 machine. Here he comes to the inside. 10 laps remaining here in your B main.
Still side by side coming to that line. Salter kind of files in behind and then cuts down low for kind of a little reverse slider line. Nothing doing there, and he'll just follow suit going into turn 4 and then comes back down again. Getting just a little bit every lap, and now he takes a real big dive down to the bottom. But nothing doing there once again.
9 laps to go here, and it does look like the 10 car can get to the back bumper, but not able to complete that lap or that pass there on that 29 machine. There's a lot of power on the top side. That momentum carries him out of the turn, and it's really hard to get that pass. He's going to have to set him up here once again, as we've got 8 laps to go here, and James Clawson is leading this one.
You can definitely see in turn 1 the cushion is really, really building into a nice big shelf to work on. Able to really hold it.
There you seen that looked like Clawson got into the wall. That opens up the door. That might have been enough for the 10 car. Not able to clear it up top there. Side by side as they come across the stripe. 6 laps to go here in this one. Clawson back in the wall once again. That opened up the door for that 10 machine of Jason Salter. He'll take over the race lead with 5 laps to go.
And now Salter seems like he's going to put it on cruise control and just take this all the way to the end. He's kind of checking out on him now a little bit, pulling away. And then Clawson drops down, trying to see if he can match that line that Salter had, but he's losing ground, definitely.
You got Jason Salter, then James Clawson in that 3rd position on back here. Ian Logan in the 4th position, Matt George. That is your 4 cars running out here on your B main action. Back up front, Jason Salter is ripping down the top of that cushion. You talked earlier in this race here, you said that that shelf is starting to build in turns 1, and I imagine the 100-lapper, we will see one great cushion up top as we've got 2 laps to go. Now your white flag is waving out in the speedway for that 10 car. One more trip around for the 10 of Jason Salter, and we'll be getting you set for a main action. Turns number 4, Jason Salter gets your win.
So it looks like we did do a track reset, so that's going to change the track conditions on these guys. The track prep crew decided they were going to throw some water on it for this 100-lapper, so that'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely. The track crew's able to get out there and drag down some of that dirt, get a nice, good racing surface before we go main racing. They are going to run it in just a little bit low for you guys. And after they get done running it in, well, we'll be right back here at Limaland. Until then, we're going to take you over and just talk about a little bit of iRacing and the behind the scenes of the making of some of these tracks.
It was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, you know, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get the second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography, and we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great-looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, you know, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle where the rubber shows up on top of the rut. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves develop depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
Welcome back to Limaland Speedway for your season finale 100 laps here at Limaland in the Super Late Model Series of NMRA. And I am your host tonight, of course, Ryan Griffith. You got co-host Jason Haynes.
100 laps here at Limaland.
Take a look at the point standings. Let's take a look at the point standings real quick, Jason, before we move on here. This race matters a lot for some of these drivers. You got Desmond Busby. He sits 412 points. Currently, your points leader right now coming into it here in Hot Lap session. He runs in that fourth spot, so he's fourth quickest out there. And then you look at the second position. That belongs to Ryan Underwood at 406 points. But the issue there is we see no Ryan Underwood, so he is a scratch for tonight. And then that number 3 spot, James Clawson, is the next closest guy to Desmond Busby at 344 points. And James Clawson, he is here tonight in Hot Lap session. He is currently 9th quick out there. And then in that 4th spot, you got James Broswell Jr. at 330. He currently sits in the number 2 spot right now in Hot Lap session as being the fastest guy out there. Number 5 is Bob Clean at 330 points. That is your point standings coming into the night. Jason, we got 100 laps on tap here. What do you think we're going to see? Is it going to be a long green flag run? Are we going to see some cautions throughout this thing? What do you think we're going to see?
I think we're going to see lots of comers and goers, people that are good when it's tacky and sticky. And then you're going to see the cream rise to the top, right? The people who can run on dry, they're going to come forward to the end of the lap of the end of the 100 laps. So it's going to be lots of traffic movement and dealing with lap traffic and just trying to keep the car clean on a short track for 100 laps.
All right, absolutely. As we are getting you set now for your feature event. And here's what it's going to start out looking like on the pole from the Mid-South Mafia, number 22, that's Camden Johnson. Starting second for the Mid-South Mafia, number 109, that's James Broswell.
Starting in the second row on the inside, we got the 46 car of Matthew Selby. Starting on the outside from Rocket Esports, the 88 car of Jason Moore.
Starting in the 5th position in the number 7 machine, that's Bob Clean. Starting 6th in the 82, that's Desmond Busby.
Starting 7th, the 51 of Terrell Payne. Starting 8th, the 07 of Thomas Vickers.
Starting 9th is 104 of Jason Salter. Starting 10th is James Clawson in the number 29 machine.
Starting 11th is the 17 car of Ewan Logan, and starting 12th is the 23 car of Matt George.
Starting 13th in the 2 machine is Chance Carr, and starting 14th will be Ron Swanson in the 75 machine. 14 cars make out tonight's A main, 100 laps around Limaland. We are set to go. Green flag racing in the NMRA finale. It's going to be a good one.
And looks like we're going to do a salute to you, the fans, a 4-wide salute.
There's your 4-wide salute by these super late model drivers there, get on your feet, cheer them on, as these guys are about to lay down 100 laps and the super late models in their season finale of the NMRA Super Late Model Series.
And here we go, 100 laps.
All right, Jason, it's time to let these boys loose here around Limaland. You got Johnson, Broswell Jr., Selby, Moore, Clean, and Busby, your top 3 rows. We're going 100 laps here in their season finale. Looking for green here out of turn 4. Green flag is waving, and we are set for 100 laps.
Johnson with an awesome start. Oh, and contact between second and third. Shelby into Braswell. Side by side going into turn 3. They're 2 by 2 throughout the field. Camden Johnson is checked out so far.
You're right about that. Camden Johnson got the good start as Broswell Jr. and Selby made contact, somehow held on to those 2 cars and kept it clean in these first opening laps here. As you can see, it's 2 wide back there for that 3rd position, 4th position. They're wanting to go 3 and 4 wide here out of turns number 2.
Selby into the wall. Losing multiple positions.
Fastest guy out onto the speedway last time by was actually that 2nd place guy of James Braswell Jr. He was faster than your leader, and he's trying to close that gap up as we're early into this one. 5 laps in of the 100-lapper.
Still 2 by 2 throughout the wheel behind the first 2 cars there, kind of scattered all over the place. Everybody kind of trying to figure out a place to run.
You seen there was some contact there with Selby once again getting into another car there. And that was the 10 car. Somehow they kept it up. And there's a 4 wide coming into turn number 4. Somehow they gather it back up. 4 wide back here in the back of the pack.
We got Vickers, we got Selby, we got so many cars packed in there. Everyone trying to just figure out a way around each other.
Good battle up here for that 3rd position. Jason Moore moving past Desmond Busby for that 3rd position. Still, Camden Johnson is your race leader, but James Broswell has chipped away at that race lead just a little bit with 10 laps in the books.
Long race. We still got a long way to go, but chipping in slowly and gradually. Everyone kind of filing out now behind them, running that similar middle line.
Pretty much single file until you get back into the 8th and 9th and 10th spot as they're battling it on side by side racing. That number 2 car, we've seen him in victory lane before, and he is back there in that 8th position. That's Chance Carr in that number 2 machine.
Still battling each other hard in that back 6th, 7th, 8th position. Every position matters, obviously. A little bit of contact between Logan and Clawson. Clawson recovers and he comes back at Logan.
Biggest mover in tonight's race so far. I know we're only 14 laps in, but your biggest mover is Chance Carr in that 2 machine. He's up 5 positions in this race. He's into that 8th position right now.
Working the extreme high line, kind of working that momentum, building that cushion up. And right behind him, actually, is Salter. Salter kind of moving his way as he had to go through the B main. So he started the tail of the field, and he's kind of moved up a little bit into 9th.
Salter, another guy that was showing off in the B main, and he's trying to show off again here in the A main and try to take that thing to the front as he's got 100 laps to do it. Plenty of time to do so. As you got another race back here with Selby and Payne. Payne on the bottom, Selby on the top. Then it's 3 wide there with Clean. Somehow they make it out of there with 3 wide as we've got 19 laps down of this 100-lapper.
And I don't know if you looked, but Busby is kind of catching these leaders here. He's slowly reeling them in.
Absolutely. Busby is catching the race leaders. If you notice, Camden Johnson and Braswell is kind of running the similar line and similar times out there, but your fastest guy now belongs to Desmond Busby there in that third position. So he's on the move in that 82 machine.
As I said, as the track dries out, you're going to see people who can adjust to the track better than others. And obviously Busby is making those adjustments as a driver and moving forward, and he is reeling in Braswell now. Definitely, you can see it.
Absolutely, as we are 22 laps down, 23 laps, almost a quarter way through this one. We've been green flag from the drop of the green flag. It's been some great clean racing so far. On the top of the board right now, you see Camden Johnson's leading this. He's led it from the drop of the green flag. James Braswell Jr. runs in that second position, but Desmond Busby's right there in that third position. Jason Moore runs in the fourth position. Matt Selby in that fifth position. Sixth position is Bob Clean. Seventh is Terrell Payne. Eighth is Chance Carr. He's got a little pressure there by Thomas Vickers. And Jason Salter rounds out the top 10. Going back up front with Desmond Busby as that battle starts to heat up.
And Johnson is about to catch lap traffic as well, so things are going to get interesting here right away. I'm sure we're going to see the leaders bunch up trying to get through this traffic.
Here comes a run by the 82 machine looking to the inside of the 109. Not able to do it yet. He goes back to the top side. He's right there. Tails him. Here comes the run down to the bottom side of the racetrack. 82. Slide job on the 109. He'll take that position away. Braswell Jr. will try to go back underneath to try to take the position back. They'll side by side at the flag stand. We're at the 30 lap mark now. 30 laps is down in the books. Braswell Jr. just lost the position by Busby. Busby's on the move here in the early stages of this race.
And here we go. Johnson's going to have to adjust his line. He has to take the bottom to avoid the lap car, which is obviously going to give time for Busby to come up, and he is going to make a move for second now again.
This lap traffic really going to play havoc for these two that's battling back here for that second position side by side as the lap car goes to the top side. As you can see, Braswell Jr. on the bottom side. Desmond Busby had to get off the throttle. That opened up the door, but here comes Busby once again to the inside.
A little bit of contact for second there. Busby getting into him a little bit. Braswell fights back, and he's going to take second back. Run through the middle line, kind of through the marbles there a little bit. Busby to the outside. Gets that high slider line kind of working.
It's quite amazing.
Braswell really working those marbles.
It's quite amazing to me, Jason, that we've went green flag this long. These guys knew that there's 100 laps, so patience was going to pay off in this one. And it seems like the guys are being very patient early in on this one, but I imagine as the time starts to tick off on this one, guys will get a little more aggressive.
Yes, the urgency level will definitely go up, and I imagine we will maybe see some cautions later on, but everyone's minding their P's and Q's right now. A little give and take happening.
You got Camden Johnson that's leading this race. He's led it from the drop of the green flag. Had to navigate around some lap traffic. Once again, navigating around the 17 machine. 17 goes to the bottom side, gives way to your race leader, that 22 of Camden Johnson. We've got 40 laps now as he crosses the stripe. 40 laps down of your 100-lap race. We're closing in on the halfway mark, and it's been green flag since the beginning.
Very clean race for a short track race, a Limaland race. Usually you see a fair amount of beating and banging happening, but like I said, these guys are minding their P's and Q's and taking their time and navigating around each other nice and clean.
So looking at lap times now out there on the speedway, we've seen Desmond Busby was faster than your race leader. Now we're looking at the times, and they're starting to equalize out there a little bit as we start to see this track where it's going to be who is going to benefit the most out of it. As you can see, these guys run 1, 2, and 3, kind of separate themselves from the rest of the group.
I kind of wonder if that lap traffic helped Johnson a little bit, because he went down low to navigate around that lap traffic, and he kind of has stuck down there ever since, down into the marbles, down middle to low. And he's kind of just kept a distance from him and Busby since then.
And maybe that's exactly what he needed, to find a different line around the raceway, and he seems to be working. But now you're starting to see Busby starting to close in on the back bumper of that 22 machine. And I imagine the 22 is starting to feel the heat of that 82 machine as we're getting closer and closer to the halfway mark of this race.
Busby definitely reeling in Johnston. This is what we've seen all season long, Johnston, Braswell, and Busby battling each other, and I imagine that's what we're going to see again coming into the closing last half of this race. Busby is reeling him in, working those cushions right up to the wall, banging that quarter panel against the wall.
We got that camera fixed right on Busby now inside the car. You can see he is right there to the 22 machine. He's going to try to make a run here.
Busby right in the tracks of Johnson. Is this where he's going to make his move down into turn one? He cuts it down a little bit low. Johnson has that momentum on the outside, though, beating right up against the wall.
As we've seen before in the B main, it was tough to pass. You could get there, but can you get around? Does it have to cause maybe a little bit of pressure to run that guy in there, maybe a little bit too hard? He gets into the wall, makes a mistake to be able to get around. As you can see, that 82 machine got there. But now, how do you complete the pass is the question.
And once again, we do have lap traffic coming back into the picture, so these guys are going to have to make another adjustment right away here, probably in the next 3 to 4 laps, I'd say.
We widen out the pan. You can see those lap traffic is going to come into play here shortly. And here comes the 82 to the inside. He may have the run that he needs right here. Slide job up in front of that 22 machine. Cross backed up by the 22. He'll reclaim the lead. And here comes Busby once again. They will exchange sliders back and forth at 55 laps down into this race.
Busby, another slider with a crossover back from Johnson, and Johnson slides right back up to the cushion. And another crossover from Busby. Reverse slide jobs as they work their way back into the lap traffic again.
Now you're starting to see that 82 is really starting to prevail on the top side. That was a perfect landing on the slider of that 22. 82 had to get off the gas a little bit, opened up the door for the 22. But it does look like Busby has a lead in here. Once I say that, the 22 puts it in there hard right in front of the 82. And while all this is going on, James Braswell Jr. is right there as well. We got a 3-car battle for the race lead.
He is licking his chops watching this, and now we have the lap traffic into the picture. So now we have a 3-car battle for first.
3 wide. What a great battle we're seeing here with 60, almost closing in on the 60 laps of a 100-lap race. And we got a 3-car battle for your race lead with Johnson, Busby, and Braswell. 3 cars wanting this big race on the season finale.
Busby and Johnson side by side while Braswell hits the cushion. Who is going to prevail in 40 laps here? This is going to be an awesome finish to this race. Side by side for the lead. And Busby will lead that lap.
Busby still working the top side of the raceway. Johnson working the bottom side of the raceway. And then Braswell Jr. works the top side of the raceway. As we are getting closer to the end of this one, we're past the halfway mark of this one. As you've seen a great battle there on lap 55 with these 3. And if lap traffic comes into play, which I imagine it's going to, that number 2 car of Chance, he's going to be a tough guy to get around. He's a fast guy. He's about to get lapped here, but he's not going to go down too easy here on these guys.
He definitely wasn't easy on him the last time they came around to kind of lap traffic, so I imagine it'll be the same.
22 machine gets into the wall. That opens up the door for the 109 of James Braswell Jr. He's trying to take that second position away so he can run down your race leader. He's going to have to do it here soon because the laps are ticking off around this short track. And if you wait too long, you may not have your chance to catch Busby, as he's been really, really good on the top side of the raceway and fast late in this race.
How long is that top going to stay together, though, is the question. And when is he going to adjust? And will these other drivers find the bottom before he does? Lots of unknowns coming into this last 30 laps. Roswell and Johnson still kind of just tied together. They can't really gain any momentum back on Busby again.
And you've seen Johnson got in the wall once again there in turns number 4. That opened the door once again for Braswell Jr. Can he complete the pass? That's the hard thing, completing that pass, and it almost needed to do slide jobs here to be able to make the completed pass, but man, it looks like Braswell Jr. is working the bottom side of this raceway very well. They're still side-by-side racing for that second position. While all that's going on, Busby is battling on with that number 2 car, and the 2 car drops to the inside, gives way to the top side for that 82 machine of Busby.
And Johnson kind of pulls ahead of Braswell a little bit there. Gives him a little bit of an insurance room, maybe kind of push things a little bit and maybe make a charge to the front.
Still amazing to me, Jason, that we have not seen a caution flag in a 100-lap race of these cars. Unbelievable.
I'm really surprised. This is really great, clean racing. I bet you there is some people in the back of the field that are begging for a caution, screaming for one right now, but everyone is racing nice and clean and not a lot of turmoil happening.
Absolutely. And you can see Busby is absolutely breaking this traffic down left and right as he's opened up a pretty good gap now, a 1.7 second gap over second place Camden Johnson, and Braswell Jr. runs third.
And now they are catching the lap traffic that Busby just had to get through. So how are they going to navigate this without dirtying up their car a little bit? And just as I say that, the 17 car gets a little bit squirrely in front of them, and they have to make a change.
Absolutely. Now he's got 2 cars in between first and second now. So Desmond Busby feeling really good right now with 24 laps to go in this one. But man, if we get a caution, this thing's going to bunch right back up there. And it should be interesting to see what would happen if that does take place, as it does look like James Braswell Jr. was faster than Camden Johnson, just not able to complete that pass on Johnson. But if he can get by, it'd be interesting to see what would happen as we are closing in on the 20 laps to go. As he come across the stripe this time by, we're going to have 21 laps remaining.
Braswell still kind of sitting that third spot. I imagine he's kind of sick of sitting there. He wants to move forward, but I mean, there's just really nowhere for him to go right now. He's not feeling the bottom, and Johnson is running his line. And now we have 2 wide lap traffic they're dealing with as well. Johnson through the middle, 3 wide coming out of turn 4.
Never want to see that as you're coming around the lap traffic, be stuck in the middle 3 wide, as he'll pass both of those cars. And now he'll put a little bit of cushion between Johnson and Braswell Jr. 2-car cushion, but still back up front. Desmond Busby, still your race leader. And let's take a look at lap times. Lap times out there, it does look like Desmond Jr. is fast, but Thomas Vickers is actually fast back here at the back of the pack in that one machine. He is matching the lap times of your race leader, same as James Clawson. Both these guys are matching the lap times of the race leader, but they're back here in 6th and 7th place, so they've got some work to do. They're looking for a caution to bunch the field back up. But it's been green flag since a drop of this 100 laps, 16 laps remaining.
Busby coming up on, looks like 8th and 9th place to lap in the field. So he is definitely making quick work of these back markers and working his way into the top 10 now to lap.
Definitely, James, if you would have said we will go caution-free in this race, I would say you're crazy. That doesn't happen very much in iRacing for a 30-lap event. let alone 100 laps. And these guys are about to go green flag for the entirety of this race. Absolutely shows the skills in this league, the NMRA finale, as they are putting on a show for you guys here and showing that, man, they are some clean racers out here, give and take as they do. As we've got 12 laps remaining for Busby.
Bob Klein fighting off, going a lap down here, and right in front of there is Jason Salter. So both of those guys fighting to stay on the lead lap. I mean, anything can happen if the yellow comes out. They do not want to go a lap down. That's the big thing, right? So just praying for a caution right now. I'm sure Salter is praying to whatever racing gods there are. We want the caution.
So earlier we talked that Desmond Busby had a 1.7 second gap. That has increased now to a 2.3 second lap. So Busby's on rails out there. He knows how to drive this thing on the top side of the raceway here at Limaland. And he's proven that he is the fastest car out here, as we've got 8 more laps to go from green flag from the beginning of this race to checkers at the end with no yellow flags. That's going to be one that these guys will be very, very happy about. No cars getting tore up here at tonight, as we've got now 7 laps remaining.
And now Johnson has kind of checked out on Broswell a little bit. Everyone kind of spaced out, working their own line. Track is really starting to slicken up.
Absolutely. Still Desmond Busby has put on a clinic here. He hasn't led everything in this, as early on Camden Johnson was your race leader, but around lap 55 or so, about a halfway mark, just over the halfway mark, the battle heated up by 3 drivers. And that 82 machine of Busby was the one that capitalized on that one, as they are coming down the backstretch now and going to enter into 4. The 3 fingers are in the air for Busby.
Busby looking to go to victory lane for the 5th time this season. Just an absolutely unreal season. Going to cap off the championship with an exclamation point with 2 laps to go.
Caution flag waves out on the speedway. Wow, it is not over, folks. We thought we was going green flag to the end of this one, but our first caution flag comes at lap 97 in this race, and now the field is bunched back up. I'm sure the 82 machine did not want to see that one.
I'm sure there's some people in their cars right now that are cursing and some people that are praising the racing gods.
Absolutely there. But I'd say the one that's cursing is that 82 machine, as he had a very, very big lead. Almost a 2.5 second lead is now gone. And when you see restarts, I've seen some restarts where a guy has been the fastest guy all night long. But all it takes is one good restart by the guy behind him, and you put a slider on, that messes the timing up on everything, and you never know who's going to win this one, as we have going to have a couple laps to decide it here in this 100-lapper finale of the NMRA Sprint Car, the Super Late Model Series.
And remember what we were talking about earlier, Clawson and Salter were actually faster than the leaders during that last 10 to 15 lap kind of run there. So you never know. You just never know what can happen here.
Definitely, you look at Clawson back there and Salter. I mean, they got some work to do to get through the pack, as it's going to be a very quick win. Quick 3 laps that'll go around this raceway, and they're going to restart this one single file here out of turns number 4. We're waiting for the green, as we'll try to get them lined up, as now it does look like we are going double file restart. And that 82 machine has chosen the outside lane.
That changes absolutely everything.
Pace car is in. The final 3 laps to decide the victor. Green flag is waving in the air.
Here comes Matt Selby out of nowhere. Contact with 3 different tires. Johnson right on the bumper of Busby.
White flag is in the air. Here it comes, Busby. Busby on the top, Camden on the inside. Side by side down the backstretch into turns number 3. Busby will close the door on Johnson and get the win in the season finale of NMRA Super Late Model 100 Lapper at Limaland.
And some donuts from Busby. Put an exclamation point on an unreal season from Busby.
You can tell that guy is really happy to win the 100 Lapper here at Limaland for the season finale of the NMRA. And on top of it, a good old championship doesn't hurt as well. He is your winner tonight. When we come back, we'll have the full rundown of where these guys finished up.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world.
Welcome back, race fans. You just seen 100 laps with one caution. Desmond Busby gets the win after taking a lead over on lap 55. It was a close finish there at the end with a late caution. And here's how the final rundown of your results looked. That number 2 spot came to Camden Johnson. He led a lot of this race early on. Number 3 spot was James Braswell Jr. Jason Salter comes home in that 4th position. Terrell Payne comes home 5th. 6th is James Clawson. 7th was Thomas Vickers. 8th was Matthew Selby. 9th was Chance Carr. 10th was Bob Clean. 11th was Jason Moore. 12th was Ian Logan. 13th was Matt George. And 14th was Ron Swanson.
Desmond Busby was also your hard charger for the evening, starting 6th and finishing 1st.
All right, we got some talk to some drivers here as we will get to your winner here in just a few minutes. But let's start with your 3rd place finisher. And the 3rd place finisher tonight became James Braswell Jr. Put on a show there. I thought you may have had something for them about midway. It's about 55 or so. We started to see a 3-car battle there for the lead. And then Busby just took off from you guys. Take us through those moments there mid-race with 55 laps in the books whenever you and the 3 cars was up there battling for the lead.
Yeah, it was fun. When they started throwing sliders, I instantly knew I was reeled them in like a car like every lap, so it got pretty fun. But when me and Camden, beginning of the race, we were just Sunday cruising, man. It felt good to be out there with no pressure. Then about, 40 laps in, something like that, I saw Busby just round the top, and he was coming. I knew he was coming, so nothing I could do. Did everything I could to hold on to what we had. We had a good run. We went 99 laps caution free. It was good.
I know me and Jason, we were talking about, was it a surprise that we went 97 laps without a caution?
Yeah, I jinxed it. So, we hit lap 99. I was like, I can't believe we just went 100 laps caution free, and then the caution came out, and Ken was like, you jinxed it.
Fantastic race that you guys put on. It was a great one. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish. Before we let you go, is there any sponsors out there you got to give a shout out to?
Yeah, CFL Meat Sports and Majula City Speed Shop run their setups. They work good all night here. And my team is South Mafia and NLRA and NMRA for putting on this league, and y'all for putting on the broadcast.
Congratulations again, James Braswell Jr., putting that late model in that 3rd position. All right. Who finished number 2? Well, that comes the way of Camden Johnson. He was your second place finisher of the night. Camden, you led a lot of the race, and it came down to lap 55 where Busby was on the move and caught you. Take us through the early stages of that race and what fell off for you.
There in the beginning, we were super fast, and we got out to a pretty good lead, and I was feeling pretty good about it. And my teammate, James Braswell, you guys just had him up here, he warned me that Busby was ripping the top, and I was kind of scared to go up there. I was trying to save my equipment so I didn't get any spoiler damage and ruin my race for the rest of the night. But once he got around me, I decided to move up top and ran it fairly decent. That last caution there, I almost had enough momentum to slide him, but we busted the tires out of 2, but that's all right. We didn't have anything for the points championship. I'm glad Busby won it, and he's a real good guy, and congrats to him.
Yeah, so Braswell, we asked him as well, was it a shock to you guys that we ran so many laps, around the lap 97, 98 or so, that the caution finally flies out on the speedway?
It was definitely surprising. Braswell in my ear, he's like, we just went 100 laps green and checkered, and as soon as he said it, the caution came out. I was like, you jinxed it. But the caution really saved me there at the end. I almost had enough momentum to get Busby, but just couldn't hold on.
Well, congratulations on that second place finish tonight. Before we let you walk away, any sponsors you want to thank this season?
Oh, yeah, I got to thank Mid-South Mafia, NLRA, Magility Speed Shop, CFM Esports, KTM, Cinematography, Deuce Wild Racing on YouTube. Make sure you come check us out. We got weekly racing videos of our IRL cars. And I want to thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast and having me up here in the booth with you.
Once again, congratulations, Camden. Congratulations on that podium finish. That close to having victory tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Your winner of tonight, Desmond Busby, gets it done, and you gotta take me through the thought process there whenever lap 55 clicks around and now you're at the back bumper of Camden Johnson. Did you know that you had what it was going to take to get around him?
Yeah, car felt good. I just try to stay clean, keep the pressure on him, but I did feel faster, so like I said, I try to just keep it on his bumper, and then threw a couple sliders and cleared them. And after that, just try to stay clean, be patient.
It didn't really look like there was anybody out there that was going to catch you in this race, as it went green flag for the most of the race. And like I asked the rest of the guys, was it a shock to see that you went green flag for nearly 97 laps, almost 100 full green flag laps?
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all because, Limaland is a smaller track, and, hard racing goes on this track. But I was actually impressed that we went that long.
So with the caution coming out with the final few laps to go, what was your thought process whenever you were going to take the green flag here to hold off Camden Johnson?
I just knew I had to keep it smooth because I think before that caution came out, he was reeling me in a little bit. So I just try to stay calm, hit my marks, and just hang on for 2 more laps.
Well, congratulations on the win and the championship as well. Any sponsors that you want to give a shout out for this season before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, D1RT, Brooks Motorsports, Digs by D1RT, Duct Tape Racing, Base Racing Fuel. Got to give a big shout out to my buddy and my teammate, Paul Hollander. He's been keeping my car dialed in this whole season. Probably wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here. But got to thank Cody for putting on the league and all the sponsors who came aboard and helped out with them. Thank you for the broadcast, and thank the drivers for a hell of a season.
All right, Desmond Busby brings it in victory lane tonight, and no stranger to victory lane, and gets the championship on the season, as this is all that we have from the dirt track here at Limaland Speedway. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast with Dirt ITV. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us over there. Be a subscriber. Go check us out on Facebook as well. And also, go check out TikTok. We have some behind the scenes stuff that is pretty cool. From all of us here at Dirt Eye TV, have a great night.